This is part 4 of my 4-part series where we discuss how they could have made adjustments to data to ensure that he won. And this is a good one, guys. Please stick with me. It's a long video, but well worth it. In this video, we're going to talk about disappearing votes and fake counties. You'll see what I'm talking about. All of this information is coming from this article by This Will Hold. Please make sure you go to their Substack and read the entire article because it'll give a lot more detail than I will cover here. Before we get started, I just want to be super clear that I am not accusing any vendor of any wrongdoing. I simply want to show you what was found, what they uncovered, that supports the idea that maybe a bad actor was introduced late in the game, further beyond the eyes of anybody that would be checking automatically. Meaning our elected officials and everybody that was running our elections may not even have a clue that this happened. And it might just be as harmless as a simple mistake. However, there are a lot of mistakes that took place. Remember in part 1, we talked about the trail of a ballot and how your ballot goes from casting the vote all the way through election night reporting. In part 2, we talked about all of the parts of the process where adjustments could have been made to ensure that he won. Part 3 was just more detail about election night reporting companies. And you need to understand all of those things before we talk about part 4, this video. Make sure you go back and watch my previous videos. I even created a playlist called She Won, But How, and you'll find all 4 parts within that. According to the article, a few investigative journalists started noticing something weird. Votes just seem to be disappearing out of nowhere during the live coverage of election night. The fact that they noticed this sparked a whole investigation, and the things they found are very surprising. Or not, depending on what you believe. As a brief recap, I just want to remind you that our results are all stored within the EMS software owned by the vendor, either ES&S or Dominion. And if you remember in part 3, we talked about how the election night reporting companies, there's 3 of them, remember, AP Elections, Edison Research, and Decision Desk HQ. And they're responsible for providing all of the updated live results to their clients, some of which include ABC News, NBC, live feeds from social media, influencers or podcasts. Basically, anytime you see things like this, where they're counting up all of the totals as they're coming in, that data is provided from election night reporting companies. Each ENR company maintains its own database with the results of the election. This database is what holds all the information for their clients to use on their own live coverage. And the way that they maintain this database is by pulling data from the EMS software that the vendor, either Dominion or ES&S, owns. And some of these companies are doing this like 40 times per minute. Remember that the EMS database contains the system of record of every state's results. In part 3, we talked about a hypothetical scenario where a bad actor within an ENR company could have been given permission by the vendor to not only pull information and data, but maybe push information. According to the article, a lot of suspicious behavior seems to be coming from one specific ENR company. The investigation suggests what looks like a vote banking system with DDHQ acting as a staging database, one where they stored extra votes in counties that don't even exist. Yeah, like completely made up counties. And so far, along their investigation, they found this in 5 different states. Did you guess that a majority of these states are swing states? Extra points if you did. The first one up is Burke County, Florida. Go ahead, look it up. It doesn't exist. Next, we have Stafford County, Pennsylvania, Allen County, North Carolina, Oklahoma County in Michigan, and Hamilton County, Georgia. Go on, go look it up, see if they exist. Come back and tell me what you found. If these counties do not exist, please tell me why they showed up on election night reporting feeds. What appears to have happened is that on election night, they noticed that vote totals were decreasing for one or more presidential candidates in at least 4 states. They noticed that votes were removed from the blue candidate, her, and they were replaced with votes for the red candidate, him. and they believe to be sourced from the vote bank that were spread across these extra non-existent counties. When I say vote bank, what I mean is that these votes were removed from one location and then stored in a bank that are represented by these fake counties. And they are stored in that bank until they are needed for other locations. Because this bad actor is changing the EMS software data, the system of record, that would mean all the official data was also changed, which means you would see these same results across all of the live feeds because the one responsible is pulling and pushing information so quickly that the others don't even notice. I'm going to use Michigan as an example to show you what they mean. At approximately 11:32 p.m., CNN's feed shows that the blue team candidate, her, totals were reducing from this to this. Yes, reducing, not increasing like it should be. Then at 11:45 p.m., the ABC affiliate in Detroit showed her gaining this amount of votes. Then 1 minute later, she lost this amount of votes. That's almost 1 million votes just gone. During that same time frame, he gains this many and she gains this many. But had she received the full amount that was shown on ABC News, that would be more than enough to change the outcome of Michigan. Something similar happened in Wayne County, Michigan as well. Between 10:37 p.m. and 11:31 p.m., this many votes were removed from the CNN feed. Something similar also happened in Wisconsin. From 10:22 p.m. to 10:26 p.m., the DDHQ feed showed an increase of this many votes. But then, just 3 minutes later, at 10:29, the total for Harris on the News Nation feed showed a loss of this many votes. That's almost 800,000 votes just gone. And this is just the beginning of the investigation. How many other fake counties are there? How many other votes disappeared? If we believe what the article is alleging, that votes were stored in a vote bank until they were needed and then shifted from locations that didn't need him to locations that did need more support for him, then this theory would also be supported by the data that was found by the ETA. In their reports, they allege that as turnout, as more people showed up to participate in 2024 within a precinct, the more the votes skewed towards the red team. Because if you're thinking about it, these votes from the vote bank would be then shuffled around into places that needed more support for him, meaning all of those extra votes would have gone to him. In addition, this theory would also support the idea that some precincts had over 100% turnout, which we saw in Florida. Remember this? This information came from this Substack article by the ETA. I wanted to share this other fun tidbit. You can see in this diagram that we have 2 point-in-time totals of votes, one for the presidential race and one for the Senate. And you can see these totals right here. There's only one problem. There are only 14 million registered voters within the state of Florida. How do we have 19 million votes for president and over 18 million votes for Senate if we only have 14 million registered voters? Something's a bit off there. Do you think these numbers could have been inflated by the votes in the vote bank? The article also talks about why this doesn't feel like just a simple mistake. In addition, the article also discusses the potential conflict of interest with the owner of DDHQ. I know this has been a hot topic with the purchase of Dominion by Scott Leindecker, who is a member of the Red Team. It all could be a very big misunderstanding, but as more and more details come out, it seems highly unlikely. Make sure to go and read her entire Substack article so you have a better understanding of everything I just talked about. And stay tuned as we learn more.